Make it quick, cowboy. I won't scream. Those words stopped me cold. Not because of what she said, but how she said it. Like death was just another chore to finish before sundown. My name is Cole Morgan, 42 years walking this earth, and most of them spent doing things that would make decent men turn away. That morning in Redstone Canyon, Arizona Territory, I was just a cattleman driving 50 head toward Tucson. Simple work, honest work, the kind that lets a man sleep at night without dreaming of blood. The buzzards told me something was wrong. 6 of them, circling lazy against the pale sky. Then came the smell. Gunpowder, fresh. The kind that means men died here within hours. I tied my horse to a mesquite tree and drew my Colt single-action army. 45 caliber. 6 rounds in the cylinder, 12 more on my belt. This gun had seen me through the war and a decade of bounty hunting. It never failed me when I needed it most. What I found in that narrow passage made my blood run cold. 3 dead men lay sprawled across the rocks. White men, cowboys by their clothes, but the military precision of their gun belts told a different story. These were trained killers. One had a knife buried to the hilt in his throat. Another took a bullet between the eyes at close range. The third had his skull caved in by a rock. And beyond them, half buried under a fallen slab of sandstone, lay the woman who killed them all. Apache, young, maybe 24 or 25. Long black hair matted with blood and dust. Her left leg disappeared beneath a chunk of canyon wall that must have weighed 300 pounds. She had clawed at the dirt until her fingers bled raw. But her eyes, dark and sharp as obsidian. When she saw me approach, she did not cry out, did not beg. She reached for a knife hidden in her boot, her hands steady despite the agony she must have felt. That is when she spoke those words. I holstered my Colt, raised both hands where she could see them. I am not here to hurt you. She did not believe me. Why would she? In her experience, white men meant death, broken treaties, burned villages, children torn from mothers who would never see them again. My name is Cole Morgan, I said, keeping my voice low and even. I am moving cattle to Tucson, heard gunfire, came to investigate, then investigate and leave. Cannot do that, ma'am, not with you pinned under that rock. I moved slowly, deliberately, giving her time to read my intentions. She watched every step like a hawk tracking prey. When I knelt beside the boulder, she finally lowered her knife, just an inch. But it was enough. What is your name? I asked. Ayana. That is Apache for eternal flower. Good name. You speak our language? Enough to get by. Spent time with Cochillo's people back in '73. Something flickered across her face. Cochillo was my grandfather. Good man, fair man. Heard he died fighting. They all die fighting. My father was Cochillo the Younger. He died this morning. The words hit like a mule kick to the chest. Cochillo the Younger was a chief, a leader of nearly 200 souls. What happened? Ayana's jaw tightened. For a moment, I thought she would not answer. Then the words came, cold and measured. Silas Crane. That name turned my blood to ice water. His men ambushed us at dawn. 12 riders, military formation. They knew exactly where we camped. Her voice cracked, just barely. They killed 8 warriors, took 5 women prisoner, and they stole the sunstone. The what? A sacred relic, 200 years old. It holds the spirits of our ancestors. Without it, my people lose their connection to those who came before. I sat back on my heels. Silas Crane. Major Silas Crane, before the army stripped his rank after the massacre at Dry Creek. A butcher who wore a uniform like a costume. I had met that monster before, 4 years ago, and the memory still haunted my dreams. We need to move, I said. Now, before his men find us. I examined the boulder. 300 pounds wedged at an angle. I found a length of ironwood nearby, thick enough to bear the weight. Wedged it under the boulder's edge. Ran a rope from the wood to my saddle horn. This will hurt, I warned her. I know. My horse pulled. The ironwood groaned. The boulder shifted just enough. Ayana grabbed the rock face and pulled herself free. Her broken legs scraped against stone. She made no sound, not a whimper, not a cry. The boulder crashed back into place. Ayana lay in the dust, face pale, breathing hard, but free. I knelt to examine her leg. The fibula was broken clean through, the bone pressing against skin without piercing it. Bad, but not the worst I had seen. I can set this, I said. Learned bone setting during the war. Antietam, 18 years old, watching 23,000 men die in 12 hours. You learn to fix what is broken, fast. I worked quickly, straightened the bone, bound it tight with leather strips and flat wood. Ayana watched in silence. Her only reaction a sharp breath when I set the bone. You will walk again, I told her. 6 weeks, maybe 8. I do not have 6 weeks. A gunshot echoed through the canyon, then another. The sounds bounced off walls, impossible to pinpoint. But I knew who was coming. I counted footsteps, scraping boots on stone. At least 6 men, maybe more. How many bullets do you have? Ayana asked. I checked my weapons. Colt with 5 rounds, 12 spare. Winchester rifle with 11 in the magazine. Not enough for a prolonged fight. Ayana pointed deeper into the canyon. There is a tunnel, natural passage through the rock, comes out on the other side of the ridge. Can you make it? She grabbed my arm and pulled herself upright. Her broken leg buckled, but she caught herself against the wall. I can make it. Question is whether you can keep up. We moved like shadows through the narrowing canyon. Ayana knew this land. Every handhold, every hidden path, every place where a wrong step meant death. Behind us, Crane's men spread out in search formation. Professional, methodical. They had done this before. Here, Ayana whispered, pointing to a bend where the walls pinched together. They will have to come single file. I understood immediately. An ambush point. I pressed my back against cool stone and waited. A shadow appeared at the bend. The first man came through fast, rifle raised. I put a .45 slug through his chest. He dropped without a sound. The second dove low, rolling into the passage with his gun blazing. My first shot missed. My second did not. He fell 3 feet from his companion. Morgan! A voice echoed from behind the bodies. Familiar. Mocking. Cole Morgan! Is that you playing hero? Silas Crane. Even his voice made my skin crawl. I know you are there, Cole. I can smell your guilt from here. More footsteps, circling, climbing. They were trying to get above us. We need to move, I said. Ayana nodded. She had already spotted 2 men scaling the canyon wall to our left. If they reached the rim, we would be caught in a crossfire. We ran, or rather, I ran. Ayana moved in a half hop that somehow kept pace with my stride. Every few steps her breath hitched, but she never slowed. We reached a wider section with a massive rock formation. I helped Ayana behind cover, then turned to face our pursuers. The climbers had reached the rim. I raised my Winchester, exhaled slowly, squeezed. The first man tumbled backward off the cliff. The second dove for cover. A new voice cut through the canyon, not Crane's, younger, speaking Apache. Ayana went rigid. A man emerged from the shadows ahead, blocking our path to the tunnel. Half Apache by his features. He carried a Remington revolver, like someone who knew how to use it. Thomas, Ayana breathed. Thomas Blackwood. The name hit me like a second punch. Do not make this harder, Ayana. Thomas kept his gun trained on her. Crane just wants the Sunstone's location. Tell him, and he will let you live. You sold us out. Ayana's voice shook with rage. You led them to our camp. You watched them murder my father. Your father, your people, Thomas spat. They were never mine. My mother was Apache, but your tribe looked at me and saw a half-breed. A mistake. 24 years. And they never let me forget. So you sold us for what? Gold? $200. And a fresh start in California. More than your precious tribe ever gave me. I had heard enough. $200, I said quietly. That is the price of an entire people? Thomas swung his gun toward me. Stay out of this, cowboy. Cannot do that. His finger tightened on the trigger. I was faster. My bullet took him in the gun hand. His Remington spun into the dust. Thomas screamed, clutching shattered bone. Before I could stop her, Ayana was on him. Her fist connected with his face. Once, twice, 3 times. I grabbed her arm before she could strike again. He will face your people's justice, I said. That is worse than death for a traitor. We tied Thomas to a boulder and took his ammunition. 12 rounds. Not much, but something. The tunnel entrance lay 50 yards ahead. We were almost there when a figure stepped out of the shadows. Silas Crane. He had aged since I last saw him. More gray in his hair, more lines carved into his cruel face. And where his left eye used to be, a bloody bandage covered the wound Ayana had given him. Cole Morgan, he smiled, showing tobacco-stained teeth. The coward who got away. 2 more men appeared behind him. We were trapped. You know, Crane continued, I always wondered what happened to you after our business in '74. That business is finished. Is it? He laughed, then turned to Ayana. Does she know what kind of man you really are? This hero of yours delivered an innocent man to me 4 years ago. A sergeant who witnessed things I preferred, stayed buried. Cole brought him in like a Christmas turkey. Then watched me put a bullet in his brain. Crane paused, savoring the moment. And what did Cole Morgan do? He took his money and walked away. Ayana looked at me, waiting. It is true, I said. Every word. He threatened my family, my sister in Kansas. I was afraid. The words tasted like ash. I have been afraid ever since, but not anymore. I drew my Colt. Not anymore. The tunnel was 10 feet away. Crane's men raised their rifles. Time slowed. I fired at the man on Crane's left. He dropped. Crane drew his pistol. Ayana threw herself at his gun arm, driving her knife into his shoulder. He howled and stumbled back. The third man swung his rifle toward Ayana. I shot him through the chest. Crane shoved her away and raised his pistol. I tackled him before he could aim. We crashed into the canyon wall, grappling for control. His fingers found my throat, squeezing. Ayana appeared behind him. Her knife flashed. Crane screamed as the blade bit into his thigh. He released me, clutching the wound. This is not over, he snarled, backing toward his remaining men. I will find you, Morgan. I will find you both. Looking forward to it. He disappeared into the darkness. We ran for the tunnel. The tunnel was darker than a mine shaft and twice as treacherous. I led with one hand on the wall, feeling for gaps. Ayana followed close behind, her breathing steady despite everything. We emerged on the far side of the ridge as the sun began its descent. Below us, open desert stretched toward purple mountains. We had made it. But we both knew Silas Crane would not quit, not with a wounded eye demanding vengeance. I found a shallow cave half a mile from the tunnel exit. I helped Ayana inside and checked her leg. The splint held, I said, but you need rest. Rest is a luxury we cannot afford. She leaned against the cave wall. For a moment she looked younger, vulnerable. Then the steel returned. My father believed peace with white men was possible, she said quietly. He spent his life building bridges. He died still believing, even as Crane's bullets tore through him. I am sorry. Do not be. He died with hope. That is more than most get. She shifted, wincing. The sunstone is not just a relic, it is the heart of our people. Without it, we lose our ancestors. Crane does not care. To him, it is merchandise. Where is he taking it? Dusty Creek, a trading town 2 days' ride from here. A collector named Hollister pays premium for native artifacts. Her voice hardened. The women they captured will be sold too, sent to Mexican mines, worked to death in darkness. We can intercept them, I said. Crane is wounded. His men are depleted. They will move slow with prisoners. Ayanna studied me. You do not owe my people anything. I owe every victim I chose not to see. Maybe I owe myself the chance to be something other than what I was. Come morning, I told her I would ride alone. Her leg was broken. She would slow me down. Ayanna's eyes flashed. She grabbed a rock and pulled herself upright. My father died in this fight. My people are prisoners. My ancestors are being sold to the highest bidder. She took a step toward me, then another. You can fight beside me, Cole Morgan, or try to stop me, but you do not get to tell me this is not my fight. I looked at her standing on one good leg, covered in dust and blood, eyes burning with unquenchable fire. Fair enough, I said, but in combat you follow my lead. Only when your lead makes sense. We found 2 horses belonging to dead men. Army horses, fast and well-trained. I took inventory, my Colt with 12 rounds total, Winchester with 18, a double-barreled shotgun, 8 shells. Ayanna kept her knife. We rode through the night, following tracks, blood on rocks, discarded bandages, men moving quickly but carelessly. By the second evening, we spotted their camp from a ridge. 8 men around a dying fire, 5 women bound near a wagon, and Silas Crane sitting apart, rifle across his knees, scanning the darkness with his one remaining eye. 8 against 2, Ayanna murmured. We wait for the fire to die. Hit them when the guards get drowsy. And the women? First priority, cut them loose. Give them a chance to run. We waited as stars filled the sky. The camp settled into quiet. 2 guards posted. The fire burned to embers. Now, I whispered. We crept down the ridge, using every shadow, every rock for cover. Ayanna moved silent as smoke despite her injured leg. I reached the first guard from behind. My knife found his throat before he could cry out. He slumped without a sound. Ayanna handled the second. Her blade flashed in starlight. Another body fell. We reached the wagon where 5 Apache women sat bound together. Their eyes widened when they saw Ayanna. She pressed a finger to her lips and began cutting ropes. Run north, she whispered in Apache. Do not stop until you reach the hills. The women vanished into darkness like ghosts. That is when Silas Crane's voice split the night. Morgan, I know you're out there. Gunfire erupted. Muzzle flashes lit the camp like lightning. I dove behind the wagon, returning fire. 1 man dropped, then another. Ayanna flanked left, her knife finding a 3rd man who never saw her coming. Crane emerged from behind a boulder, pistol blazing. A bullet grazed my shoulder, hot and sharp. I fired back, missed, fired again. Hit him in the arm. He kept coming. 4 years I waited for this, he screamed. 4 years thinking about what I would do when I found you? I was out of pistol rounds. I grabbed the shotgun and rose from cover. Crane raised his gun. I fired both barrels. The blast caught him square in the chest. He staggered backward, eyes wide with disbelief. The pistol slipped from his fingers. You, he choked. Blood bubbled from his lips. You were supposed to be a coward. Men change. Silas Crane, the butcher of Dry Creek, collapsed into the dust and moved no more. The remaining men scattered into the night, their leader dead, their courage broken. I let them go. They were not worth the bullets. Ayanna limped toward me, knife still dripping. Behind her, the first gray light of dawn touched the eastern sky. The sunstone, she said. We found it in Crane's saddlebag, a disk of polished turquoise, ancient symbols carved into its surface. It seemed to glow faintly in the growing light. Ayana held it against her chest. Her eyes closed. Her lips moved in silent prayer. When she opened her eyes again, they glistened with tears she had refused to shed until now. My father would have liked you, she said quietly. I doubt that. He believed in second chances. He believed people could change. She looked at the stone, then at me. He was right. The sun broke over the horizon, painting the desert in shades of gold and rose. The women we had freed would reach safety. The sunstone would return to its people, and Silas Crane would never hurt anyone again. I looked at Ayana standing in the dawn light, battered but unbroken. What now? I asked. Now I take the sunstone home. My people need to know their ancestors are safe. Long journey for a woman with a broken leg. She almost smiled. Almost. Then I suppose I will need someone to watch my back. I thought about my cattle, still waiting somewhere in the canyon. Thought about Tucson and the money I would lose. Thought about the simple, honest life I had tried to build. Then I thought about William Dawes, about all the ghosts that had followed me for 4 long years. Maybe this was how I finally laid them to rest. I suppose you will, I said. We mounted our horses and turned north, toward the mountains where her people waited. Behind us, buzzards began circling Crane's camp, drawn by the scent of death. Ahead, the desert stretched endless and golden under the morning sun. For the first time in 4 years, I was not running from something. I was riding toward it.